There was once a boy named Riyan who lived in a crowded part of the city where the noise of traffic mixed with the cries of street vendors every morning. He was ordinary in every possible way, average grades, no special skills, no clear dream, but he carried a restlessness in his heart, a quiet voice that whispered, "You're meant for more." Every night, Riyan would climb to the rooftop of his small apartment building and stare at the stars. He didn't know what he wanted yet, but he knew he couldn't live his life repeating the same routine forever. His father worked in a workshop fixing machines. His mother sold vegetables in the market, and both believed in stability, not dreams. They told him, "Just get a job, Riyan, don't think too much." But thinking too much was exactly what he did. One day, while delivering tea to a small office where he worked part-time, he overheard two men talking about success. One said, "You know what separates the winners? They start before they're ready." That line hit Riyan like a spark in dry grass. That night, he couldn't sleep. Start before you're ready. He didn't have money, talent, or direction, but maybe he didn't need any of that to start. He decided to try something, anything. He began waking up at 5 a.m. every day to run, not because he wanted to be an athlete, but because he wanted to test himself. He wanted to prove he could do something consistently. The first week, his legs hurt so badly he almost gave up, but by the second week, something changed. The pain became strength. He started enjoying the silence of early mornings, the cool air brushing past his face, the feeling that he was moving forward, literally and figuratively. Soon, running wasn't enough. He wanted more challenges. He began learning skills online after work, small things like graphic design, editing, marketing. Every night, while his friends scrolled through their phones or played games, Riyan sat in front of his old, flickering laptop. Sometimes he'd fail miserably. Sometimes he'd fall asleep on the keyboard, but every morning, he'd wake up again before dawn and run. Months passed. His progress was slow, painfully slow. No one noticed. No one clapped. But something was changing inside him. He was becoming disciplined. He was building momentum. One day, while scrolling through social media, he saw a post from a local business asking for someone to design a poster. It wasn't much money, but he took the chance. He worked all night, pouring everything he'd learned into that one design. When he sent it, the client replied, "You're hired." That small message felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. For the first time in his life, someone valued his work. That one project led to another. Slowly, he began getting small freelance jobs. He saved every bit he earned, not for clothes or gadgets, but for a dream he was just beginning to understand: freedom. The freedom to choose his path, to live life on his terms. A year later, Riyan left his tea delivery job. It wasn't easy. His parents were scared. "What if it doesn't work?" his mother cried. He smiled and said, "Then I'll make it work." He knew fear was part of the process. He knew that every person who'd ever built something meaningful started with uncertainty. There were days he doubted himself. Clients would reject his work. Money would run out. Electricity would fail while he was working late at night. But every time life hit him, he hit back harder. He remembered those words, "Start before you're ready," and they became his mantra. 3 years passed. The same boy who once served tea to others was now running his own small design studio. He had 2 employees, a few loyal clients, and something far more valuable than success: belief. He understood now that greatness doesn't come from talent or luck. It comes from showing up every single day, even when you don't feel ready, even when no one's watching, even when everything seems to be falling apart. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the skyline, Riyan found himself once again on that same rooftop where it all began. He looked at the stars and whispered, "I made it this far because I didn't wait for perfect." A gentle wind brushed against his face, as if the universe itself was nodding in approval. He realized that life will always test you before it blesses you. It will throw doubt, rejection, and failure your way, not to stop you, but to shape you. Every setback, every sleepless night, every tear shed in frustration, all of it was part of the story that built his strength. And that's the truth. Most people forget. Success isn't a moment. It's a journey. It's the silent mornings, the sacrifices no one sees, the choices you make when it's easier to quit. It's falling in love with the process, not the applause. Years later, Riyan would tell his story on a stage, standing before hundreds of young dreamers who felt lost, just like he once did. He told them, "You don't need to.